Hey guys, Thunder E here, and I finally have it, the gaming video on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now, it's late at night, so my voice may get raspy, so forgive me for that. But this device is one that is quite intriguing because Samsung talked about new cooling on the S24 Ultra and how that would affect gameplay, performance, some AI stuff as well, which I don't think is really there. But let's look at the hardware itself. Now, visually, it looks like the S23 Ultra. It just really does. But new this year is that the display is flat. It's no longer curved. So how does that feel when gaming? I would say it kind of reminds me of the original Note, or at least the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. And it feels very comfortable. Titanium, it feels lighter but still sturdy at the same time, so that is a huge plus. Now we know this is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is a solid processor and it's got some really great performance. We just saw that recently on the Asus ROG Phone 8 Pro versus the Red Magic 8. Some great performance, but those are gaming phones. So what kind of benchmarks can we expect on the S24 Ultra? So let's go into Geek Benchmark 6 to see some of the benchmarks there. And in our single core scores, we got 2,187, multi-core 6,679. And we also got a GPU score of 13,257. Again, this is lower than what we saw on the gaming devices, not by much, but you can see there is some difference between a standard device and the gaming devices. Now, these are very good scores, but they are lower than what we got in the Asus, as well as also the Red Magic. Still very, very good scores. Now, if we go over to other benchmarks like Wildlife Extreme on 3D Mark, we're getting about 4,603, which is better than 92% more devices. That's less than what we got on the gaming phones, but again, those phones are geared to games, so I should expect better scores. And Solar Bay, which is also a 3D Mark test, we got 7,293, and of course the other devices are around 8,000 in terms of points. But that being said, what about gaming performance? What should we expect from this as a gamer? So we start off with, of course, Call of Duty Mobile. Now, Call of Duty Mobile can run at 120 frames per second on this device. We went to the settings of course, ultra, medium, and we got 119, which is pretty much 120 frames on this. Ran very smooth and took advantage of the hardware quite well. Very comfortable gameplay, played really nice. I liked it, I enjoyed it. But also the 120 Hz refresh rate on the display really goes a long way in giving some really great smooth performance and handling on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. So Call of Duty works. It should. And it also plays 120 frames per second. What about PUBG Mobile? This was good. It was good to see that we're able to actually go ahead and play at PUBG 90 frames per second, which is a specific setting and something we found on the Asus ROG Phone 8 Pro. We didn't see it on the Red Magic, but it is available on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, and it handles that mode pretty well. 89, 90 frames per second, really solid, smooth gameplay. Me constantly dying because I'm trying to make this as fast as possible, but I was able to get those benchmarks. So that's pretty good performance off there. Now, before we go into Genshin Impact, which of course had the highest performance levels for us, what about emulators? Now, because this was pretty much a quick turnaround for me, I was able to get one emulator on there on PSP. This is God of War Chains of Olympus. I ran it at 8x at about basically 4K resolution on the device, and it did a fantastic job. Frame rate was 60 frames per second, game played really well. I was using on-screen controls. You can of course connect to your controller if you wanted to play in this. Handled well, and I don't see any problems with emulators on this device. This is something the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 does really well, so it shouldn't be a problem with any of the emulators you're looking at. So let's go ahead and move to Genshin Impact. This is the game that we all expect to see some craziness with. Now, we went to the max settings at 60 frames per second, and we're able to play the game at 60 FPS, and we probably ran that for about 30 minutes. No issues in terms of frame rates. Now, there were some parts in the game where we got into very, very heavy gameplay action, where it dropped down to about 57, went back up again back to 60 frames per second. So that's something that is different from the gaming phones, which just never really dipped at all. And I would say when it comes to temperatures, this is where we got our first true test of temperatures. We got about 42 degrees Celsius, which is roughly around 108 degrees Fahrenheit. So you get the idea of what those temperatures are. It's kind of in line with what the Galaxy was doing last year with the Genshin Impact. So I'm not sure how improved it is on a game like that. What I will tell you is playing PUBG for an extended period of time, my temperatures were fine. Didn't run hot, it ran warm to cool, and it just ran and handled pretty well temperature-wise. So in that aspect, I think you would get the kind of temperatures you expect. Now, what about the speakers? I know we just did a speaker test, but we never actually looked at gaming, while gaming, how the speakers will sound, and also what kind of quality you get. So let's go ahead and take a quick listen to the speakers on the Galaxy S24 Ultra for gaming.
Contact.
Okay, so overall, the gaming performance on the Galaxy S24 Ultra is very solid. Now, it's not at the level of the gaming phones, the Asus ROG Phone 8 Pro or the Red Magic 9 Pro, because that is specifically built for gaming. But this will handle your AAA games to the highest degree with great confidence, and you will get some really great performance overall. Now, some of the AI features that Samsung did talk about in terms of cooling, I think that does come into play in cooling the device, because we overall got better cooling on the device, apart from where Genshin Impact works. But for the rest of the games I'm playing for longer periods of time, we had no issues, and I think a lot of that internal thermal management is done quite well. So overall, what do you think about gaming on the Galaxy S24 Ultra? The one thing I didn't mention is the display and how bright it is in daylight. While I was shooting earlier in the day, putting it just next to the sun, you can see how bright that 2600 nits display is. And especially while gaming, you're gonna get a lot of great colors and textures from it. So I want to know your thoughts, guys. How do you feel about the S24 Ultra as a gaming device and the kind of performance we got? I'm glad to see that PUBG now has a higher setting, as well as also Call of Duty Mobile. I want to see just more improvements with Genshin Impact, but we'll have to wait and see. So leave your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and always enjoy your entertainment. Oof, my voice is dying. Have a good one, guys.